Tom Aspinall, guys, do some of you owe him an apology? Tom Aspinall is legitimately hurt still. Tom Aspinall is not cleared to fight still. He is not cleared to train still, which is something, yes, that a commission can enforce. Comes with your privileged license. Tom Aspinall is having doctor's appointments and trying out different remedies still. Do some of you owe him a bit of an apology? And Anthony Smith and I got pinned on us that we were pretty hard on Tom, which we weren't. Neither one of us. But we both saw the piece of our very selves, and go, that looks like we were pretty hard on Tom. We were discussing a topic of which does not make the clip. The clip just to set the context, if you're aware of what I'm talking about. But we were discussing a topic of what has to happen and why the 5 minutes of recovery was put in place initially. How a no contest became involved in our sport as opposed to a decision of pass or fail, win or lose, disqualification or TKO. And the intent behind that and the reality that we have now are not the same, and that's what Anthony and I spoke to. But we, of course, had no idea whether Tom was hurt or not, and I don't know that it would have factored into our opinion. We accept that he could be hurt, and we accept that in a fight, one athlete is going to be hurt. Now, should you have to continue on when you're hurt? Yeah, sure. Should you have to continue on when you're hurt, and what hurts you is a technique that's prohibited? Therein lies the million-dollar question. And I remember my reaction right when this fight was over. And I like Tom. I like Tom a lot. I like Tom's father. This is on a human level. I don't know Surreal. He could be a perfectly nice guy. I know that Surreal as our champion, as a company, is a problem. And anything that could force us to see John Jones versus Surreal again is a really big problem. At any rate, to just speak about this event, I remember right when it was done. I remember telling you guys, I'm mad. I feel shorted as a fan. I know what I went through to be here. As a fan, I don't know if you guys know the United States geography very well, but I, in West Lynn, could not possibly live any further from Bristol, Connecticut. If I was to travel any further than West Lynn to Bristol, it would take me out of the country. There is nowhere within the country that is further, airport-wise, away from each other than where I live versus to where I got to witness, call, and bring reaction to you over that fight. And on a human level, I get that that's my job. I get that nobody needs to feel bad for me. But speaking to that personalization, I felt shorted and I felt incomplete. That contest was incomplete. We had a conflict, but we did not have resolution. Now, when I say that I'm mad, I didn't know then, and I'm not sure now, who I'm mad at. Because I wasn't sure then, and I'm not sure now, whose fault it was. The last person that I would blame is the referee. I don't do that. And I've refereed before, and I've had people treat me very terribly when my intentions were great, which is to go out there and do a role that very few people want to do, which, by the way, if I don't do it, and to the best of my ability, the contest itself doesn't even happen, and I was just refereeing children, by the way. And I got treated very badly, and I try to never put it on the referee, but there is a part of me where I can't overlook that. I mean, look, we got 2 rules in this whole thing. And I know there's we went out of our way to come up with a page of rules. They're all phony. They're all phony. There are the things that have never happened. There's 2 rules. Well, I suppose there's three. Don't bite the guy. Don't kick him when he's down. And don't touch his eyes. Those are the rules. And you're 12-6, and what's a grounded opponent? You can kick him now, and if his hand's like this versus his hand's like that, there's three things we don't do. And there's three things all the way back to 1993 that you don't do. You don't bite him. You don't kick him when he's down, and you don't touch his eyes. And the reason I say that, and I even take the time to say that twice, is when you break one of those rules, those are the big ones, right? Those are the big ones. There's all sorts of things in life that you're not supposed to do, but there's 10 commandments. When the thing in life that you're not supposed to do happens to be one of the 10 commandments, we have a whole nother level of mistake being made. And there are accidents. There always is unintentional. I appreciate those things. I just don't know how much they matter when you're poking him in the eyes, you're kicking a guy when he's down, or you're biting the opponent. There's a number of ways, I've seen them, where someone's mouthpiece comes out and the other guy, I've seen this in wrestling. I watched it. If you have bite marks, you are disqualified in wrestling at one period of time. This guy cross faces another guy so hard that there's teeth marks, gets up and shows the referee. This guy never bit down. I saw another guy do in front of everybody, bites his own arm, shows the referee. Well, the rule says if there's bite marks, the opponent is disqualified. They disqualified him. I've seen ridiculous things, and I know that there's circumstance. But the mere notion that an athlete gets an opinion on what we're going to do here is unheard of in sport aside from this one. You go find me swimming, croquet, ballet, synchronized trampoline. I'm trying to think of rare sports. I mean, find me any of them: baseball, basketball, football, hockey. Find me any sport, niche or otherwise, that has a clause that our opinion and decision of the outcome of this match is going to be group thought involving the athlete. Because that's what we had here. Tom could have lost his belt if he used the wrong word. Anthony Smith could have taken John's belt had he used a different word. At that time, it was yes, no. Not understanding that rule at all cost Chris Weidman a victory that he had canned over Gegard Mousasi after the fact. It was over. Weidman won. Weidman was not familiar with the rule. He used a word. Word cost him the match. So to have group thought on outcomes in sporting events that involve the athlete, like, let me just stop right there. Let's pretend this is a riddle. You can see where that should not be. Well, it is. It is here. And it sounds like Tom was very legitimately hurt, without question. Some of you real Tucker, you decide that even when legitimately hurt that you would have finished a fight. You go ahead, you do your thing. Do your thing. Sure you would. But if he was hurt, why wasn't it a disqualification? Why would we decide it's an accident? Why would we decide that it's unintentional? Why do we always decide it's an accident? Why do we always decide it's unintentional? And Tom was not poked once. And for you really smart watchers, he wasn't even poked twice. Go back and watch the shot that Tom makes. Go watch how quickly Tom retreats. Tom was poked 3 times. There's only 10 fingers. 30% of those fingers found their way into Tom's eye in 3 minutes. At what point does intentional versus egregious not even matter?